take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dude's holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Welcome to Fantasy Sports and Politics, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Mr FSP. Doing what I do because I do it for you all day, every day, or when I can. Life has thrown curveball after curveball after curveball. But the good news is I can play baseball a little bit. I'm not that great. Not great at all. Not even good. I can play it a little bit. I know the positions. I know the rules. I have a can of an arm. At least I used to. Yeah, high school was like, I was really strong. Anyway, let me fix what I'm about to say here. This is a makeup show because the sports show is supposed to happen on Thursdays. I let everybody know that that's what was going to happen. And I've been able to do it because, one, I fell asleep this past Thursday. I had it all scheduled, ready to go, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and I fell asleep. I'm just being honest. Tuesday, it was so much politics to talk about, so much. I decided not to do it because I wanted to watch the State of the Union or whatever that was called. And oh boy, there's a lot to talk about there. But today's the sports show, and there's been a lot of movement in the NFL. In the past hour or so, it's been released that Xavier Worthy was arrested for domestic violence. I just wanted to talk about free agents and stuff like that, but I got to talk about it. As I said, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on, but let's talk about it. I'm going to bring in somebody. Well, I was going to bring somebody in. I don't see Mr. Taylor. He was here, but he stepped back, I guess. Anyway, let's talk about Xavier Worthy. Someone's texting me now, so I'm going to reply. I shouldn't. On Thursdays, that's when does my show run. But anyway, Xavier Worthy. I have not read the police report. I have not discussed anything with anyone, so it's my opinion based on the fact that he was arrested. Okay. People, there are different types of domestic violence, but this is a young man, and I believe it's with a young lady. Here's what I can say about it. You're 1 year in the NFL. You just came from the Super Bowl. You had an impact in the Super Bowl, right? Not a big one, because the whole team didn't have a big one, but you had a good enough impact. You're young. You're talented. You have a lot of money. Even though your first round pick, and you don't have as much money as others on the team, but you have more money than, I'm going to say, half of the team that's on league minimums. You did not learn from Rashee Rice. You did not learn, even though before your time, from Andy Reid's son. All I can say, Mr. Worthy, you are fast. You are talented. You have a skill set that a great deal of people wish they had. I'm not saying don't be who you are, but if who you are is someone that is going to be involved in this type of situation, rethink who you deal with, how you deal with them. Close that circle. Everybody does not need to be in your circle of trust or your circle of friends. Every woman does not need to be a part of your life. I know having your pick of the litter, so to speak, is very, very enticing and very, very machismo-ish. But my friend, you need to be more selective in who you deal with. Now, I don't know if alcohol was involved. I don't know if it was one of those cases where everything was agreed upon, but then all of a sudden, no, I didn't want to, and then you got angry. I'm going to assume you're innocent until proven guilty. But the optics and your stature speaks volumes. Speaks volumes of where you should be and what you should be doing. I know a lot of these kids come from nothing. Black, white, whatever. Not every athlete has that. I went to the prep school, or I had these trainers, or I had that. A lot of them that have these stories come from broken homes and different situations. Now, Xavier Worthy's mom, okay. Yeah. Now, I don't know the dynamics of that. I know the dad was not mentioned or seen in any pieces that I saw. I don't know what just happened. I think my internet's tweaking on me. But I believe that when you have a rough life, you learn from it, or you succumb to it. And from all accounts, Xavier Worthy has learned from it. A good student at University of Texas, speed to burn. So an athlete, I don't know where it comes from. Don't know his mom or dad. I've seen pictures of mom and things like that, but I don't know if she was a track star or if she was a fast person, his ability to catch the ball, run with the ball, do a lot of physical things that don't last at the level that he's at. Taking advantage of this short window of opportunity is something a lot of people fail to do once they get there. Xavier Worthy, don't make the same mistakes. Walk away, if you can, from a situation that is not family related. Now, even family can, push your buttons and try to play you, but the OJs have a song, "For the Love of Money," it says the root of all evil. People will do mean things for that mean green. For the love of money. I don't want to get censored, but take your time. And to these young folks that are about to join the NFL, at the end of April, someone's going to call your name and say, "Welcome to our organization. Welcome to our family." And things are going to change. Pete Carroll, the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, put out his rules. It's three simple rules. The first one, the first one is the biggest one, but I'll get to that. The last one was be on time, which means you're 10 minutes prior. That's a military thing. If you're not 10 minutes prior, you're not on time. And I'm struggling with showing up to meetings in the civilian world exactly when they're supposed to start. I'm like there in the team's meeting or whatever, like 5-10 minutes prior, because it's something I've been taught. It's a discipline thing. It's a respect thing. The second thing is you represent the organization. Act accordingly. And the first thing is, if you have or see one of your teammates about to make a mistake, making a mistake, or even thinking about it, the onus is on you to police them up. Which ties into the second part of, you represent the team. So, conduct yourself accordingly. But the first rule is pretty much, am I my brother's keeper? That is basically it. If you know what that meaning is, or that saying is, you know the meaning. You are responsible for the man next to you, left and right, front and back. You have a responsibility to police them up if they are getting out of line. I'm a habitual line stepper. If one of my friends, hey, Vic, come on, Vic, come on back, I might fight him a little bit, but I'm going to think about it and be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Because I'm going to do the same thing to them. That's what friends do. In this case, Pete Carroll wants the work atmosphere to be that way. And Xavier Worthy, like I said, your circle is probably like this, my friend. Shrink that thing down to that. Be mindful of what you do and who you're with. Again, I don't know the story. I've seen the mug shots. I've seen the headlines. But we got to do better, especially going on your second year in the NFL, and the guy that's supposed to grow with you in the receiving corps just had criminal charges delayed on him after his issues last summer or summer before last. Rashee Rice. Do better, my friend. And those going to the draft, cautionary tales. You might not want to listen, but have it in your tool belt if it comes back because you didn't listen or use it. All right, bring my guy here who dropped off initially. Not sure what happened, but Mr. Taylor, do you know or have you heard about what happened with Xavier Worthy?
He choked out. Looks like he choked out a family member or a close member of his clique, and quite naturally has charges brought up against him. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
don't have the full story, but stay tuned. Let me put it that way.
And like I said before, family members can do it too.
Yep,
family members can. Not saying they're looking for a payday, but you're making a lot of money. You do something to them that they would normally just fight you over. Well, now it's going to be a cop thing.
Yeah, well,
now it's going to be a lawsuit thing.
It's
now that
they when that usually happens, it's not they expect to get paid because you're a family member. Not necessarily you should, but they expect.
Correct.
Yeah. So,
well, it is a sad situation, but like I said, Pete Carroll put out his 3-team rules. Very simple and very good. But let's talk about free agency, and let's stick with the Raiders because they just did something that made you a Raider fan.
I love Gino, and I got some.
Wait.
You know I love some Gino.
Just hold on.
I love some Gino.
Okay, can you hold on for a second?
No problem.
So
I brought ammo to the table.
I bring this up because you really are probably really sad since the owner of the Cleveland Browns wouldn't even talk to Myles Garrett. But I understand he don't want Myles Garrett to leave. I wouldn't want him to leave either. But after the deal Max Crosby just signed with the Raiders, Myles Garrett is going to get paid in a year or two.
Okay.
But let's get to the Raiders who were offered, and I don't know why. I think Gino and DK were offered to the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. But they only got Gino. But who knows? Maybe the Raiders will try to get DK and bring the gang back together again. Is he the answer? He's definitely not the long-term answer for the Raiders. Definitely not the long-term answer. But is he the answer for the foreseeable future?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Geno Smith, since 2022, has 12 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. Only Patrick Mahomes, who has 13, has more over that span. Also, and I'll stress this also, most go-ahead passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter since 2022. Geno has 11. The next closest players are Josh Allen with 7 and Dak Prescott also with 7. So yes, regardless of what people say or even whoever hates on Geno is a quality quarterback, regardless what you say. Geno's a quality quarterback, and that's what and a consistent quarterback for the most part. And that's what Pete Carroll is looking for. And the Raiders are looking for. They're looking for a consistent quarterback. Every now and then he strays. Okay, every quarterback does that. But Geno overall is a very consistent quarterback.
So you don't think he's going to be just the transition quarterback if the Raiders have the opportunity to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward?
They won't get either one of them. They're not even close to getting either one of them with the pick they have, the 6th or 7th pick. Those two quarterbacks will not be in play. And those two quarterbacks will not even be in play. And what I'm saying is this: the Raiders will probably draft a quarterback, but it won't be a quarterback that's going to take over. It's going to be a quarterback that's going to need some seasoning.
Well, that's why I said a transition quarterback in Geno Smith. Because I look at the Raiders and they need help on the offensive line. Big time. They need another receiver to go with Jacoby Myers.
Okay.
They have two quality tight ends. Obviously, one stood out last year in a rookie capacity, but Meyer is a pretty good pass receiving tight end as well. They need help on the defensive line, linebacker, because their linebackers, except for one, can't tackle or stop the run.
Every team has needs.
No, you're right. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying, how does this trade for Geno Smith change the draft strategy, in your opinion, of the Raiders?
I don't think it changes it because I think the Raiders are going to go off for offensive tackle. I think they're going to go for, maybe not offensive tackle, but they're going to go for an offensive lineman in the first round and look for maybe a quarterback in round 3 or 4. Because I think what they're going to do is go for somebody on offense, offensive lineman. Second round, I think they're going to go for a running back. And then maybe a quarterback in the third round and look for defense later in the draft. That's what I think they're going to do. Because quite naturally, they need help on the offensive line. We all know that. They need help in the running back position because you can't go with the two running backs that are present because they're too inconsistent. And in the running back class in this draft, it's huge. Huge.
There's a plethora of running backs in this draft. And I'm glad you mentioned the sections you did. But the next best quarterback is Dart from Ole Miss. And he's the next highest rated quarterback, which I think could fall to the late second, early third, based upon the line talent, offense and defensive line talent in this draft. And with that, it addresses a lot of the Raiders' needs if they draft properly, right? They need to put somebody opposite of Max Crosby. Now they got that big deal. They need to get a defensive lineman that's going to cause some problem. Pete Carroll does a 4-3. He's going to run a 4-3. Now, the NFL is more of a nickel defense now because they got more 3 wide receivers. But 4 aggressive down linemen and 2 backers that can tackle, right? That makes up a lot for the secondary because the secondary needs help as well. But I agree if, and this is my caveat, if Shedeur Sanders is not there or Cam Ward not there, the Raiders go offensive line. You got to remember, Tom Brady is in that office, and he don't need flash. He don't need a big arm to get the job done. He wants the team to play solid defense and run the ball the Belichick way. I know Pete Carroll is the head coach, and that is the same thing Pete Carroll does. He didn't let Russell cook for a minute. He let Russell throw, but he didn't let him cook. So we'll see what happens with the Raiders. Let's talk about another trade near and dear to my heart. The Commanders acquired Deebo Samuels for a 6th-round draft pick. Ridiculous.
Somebody call the police.
Well, it was supposed to be, and this is what was reported. It was supposed to be Jonathan Allen and a pick for Deebo. But the 49ers were afraid of the amount of money Jonathan Allen was going to ask for after his contract expires this year. This is why the Commanders are set to release Jonathan Allen instead of trading him. Now, the Seattle Seahawks have interest in Jonathan Allen.
Okay.
If Washington is able to pull off Jonathan Allen for DK straight up, that would mean we would have 3 of the best receivers and 2 young receivers on the backside. Now,
that's not happening.
Besides that, let's talk about what happened. Let's talk about what happened.
That's not happening.
But hey, don't say that because the Browns suck. But let's talk about what did happen.
Look,
Deebo was traded away for a 6th-round pick. Now I get it.
Somebody call a popo. Somebody call a popo.
Well, I'm gonna explain why they don't need to call the popo. Deebo was used in so many facets with the 49ers: kick returner, punt returner, running back, wide receiver. He got a nice contract extension. He's at the end of that contract, right? So he's playing for another contract at his age. Now, people complain that, well, he doesn't stay healthy. I just told you the 4 facets that they use that man in. They had healthy running backs to put in the game to back up Christian McCaffrey or do whatever, but they ran with Deebo sometimes, getting banged up. His body is built for that, but Washington could use him in a similar situation. However, I believe that Kingsbury is going to most likely have him 90-95% at wide receiver in the slot. Now, he may do some run plays or some jet sweeps and stuff like that, but I do not see him lining up as a running back when you have Brandon Robinson, Austin Eckler, and I think they're going to get a running back. They interviewed Skeetaboo, Gentry, and the kid from Oregon. Now, my thing is this. I love Brian Robinson. Oh, we also re-signed Bobby Wagner. That is probably the best outside of Deebo, getting Deebo, a second receiver. Bobby Wagner's leadership on that team. He had 130-something total tackles again. And he's probably ready to be put out to pasture, but he's going to mentor somebody to replace him next year. But I love Brian Robinson Jr., but in this system, he's not a good fit, which is unfortunate. He's a power back who's learning how to catch, and he did a good job. Austin Eckler can be a power back, catches the ball out of the backfield, can be a stretch running back as well, but he's not Saquon. So Debo getting out of San Fran says he has no ill will toward him. He loves him. Coach GM helped him become a man, helped him become a better player, so on and so forth. So let's talk about that.
What do you want me to say? All I can tell you is this, okay? Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler combined are not as good as Debo. That's a fact. They're not as good as Debo, especially because Debo can be used in all those areas, running back, catching the ball out of the backfield, or catching the ball as a wide receiver. So, in my opinion, you're going to be surprised what Cliff Kingsbury is going to do with Debo. Okay? X out any punt return or kick return. We ain't doing that with Debo. We're going to use him as the wide receiver and the running back because he can do those chores well. And he's just like a big running back, a big wide receiver. He's built to be a running back, but he plays wide receiver. So the best, I mean, I love this. I absolutely love this. Some people thought he's washed up. Not me. Not in this offense. Not the way they can use him in different chores in this offense, different ways. I love this move. They stole him for a 6th round pick. They stole him.
I would not say steal, but it was a great deal. It was a great deal.
Oh my God. 6th round? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's pretty much
that love that John Lynch has for our general manager and vice versa. That's
just basically giving him away.
Well, you got to think about this.
It's a lease.
You got to think about it. It's a lease. It's a lot of money on this contract, and there's no guarantee that we're going to re-sign him next year. So it's a lease. That's why I feel as though
why it's a
yes,
lease?
It was a steal, but what's the likelihood of Debo getting a ginormous contract from Washington next year at his age, and other receivers that are younger will be available next year?
Well, let me put it this way. Like I said, he's a versatile player. He can play wide receiver and he can play running back.
Yes.
And it's very rare that a player playing in his last year of his contract doesn't ball out. You're going to get the best version of Debo because he wants to get paid. Regardless if it's here or with someone else, he wants to get paid. And you're going to get the best version of a player playing for his contract.
Look, I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the value Washington gave up isn't as surprising as you are, saying. Like, it's a steal. You got robbed. Only because Washington looks at it and says, we're paying this guy $26 million this year. Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The going rate for a receiver at his level is about $30 million, right?
Okay.
Next year,
he's not a $30 million player. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to get to that because they just paid Ayuk that money, right? If Jamar Chase gets his contract before Debo, now at this moment, Chase is better than Debo, right? But that sets the market from $30 million for the average of these type of receivers to something that's astronomical, right? And then Debo falls, let's say, just below that astronomical number. So playing the GM game, I'm taking on a lot of money this year. He has not been healthy all the time, but that's because of use, the way they used him. And he's going to command a great deal of money next year. So my liability can't go beyond the 5th round. Below the 5th round. 5th or 6th. Because I'm taking a lot of risk on a guy that I might not be able to sign next year.
Next year.
I do not want, well, listen to what I'm saying. I don't want to give up this year's 4th round pick. Right? Already gave up the 3rd round pick for who do we get 3rd round? I forgot what we did with the 3rd round pick, who we gave it to. It was last year's player. We got a player we got last year or something like that. I think that was part of the Jaden Daniels. It was somebody's trade. Somebody trade that we had. So with that being the case, we don't have a 3rd round pick. So I'm playing with my 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. He's not worth a 4th.
Really? Okay.
No. No. Not at his age and the toll his body has taken. DK, who's very similar in age, might be worth a 4th because just up until last year, he was relatively healthy. Last year, he had some issues, right? But he's at an age where I'm not afraid to, okay, I can afford to give him a $40 million a year contract because I'm going to get a 4-year deal, 100, let's say, what is that, 160 mil? I'm going to get 2 to 3 solid years out of that 4 years, just like with Debo. Debo did a 3-year deal with San Fran extension. They got 2 good years out of him. Well, 1.5, because last year, up and down in the lineup. And then they shipped him off. So I don't think it was a steal. But let's talk about some of these free agent moves, right? I'll ask you. And let me get to it because I had it right here. Rodgers and the Giants. Good deal, bad deal. Where does DK Metcalf land? Stephon Diggs. Devontae Adams now released. Does DeAndre Hopkins have another place to land, or does he re-sign with Kansas City? Chris Godwin, who's a free agent, coming off a horrendous injury. Does he stick with? I mean, he has. I think he had like a 2-year deal, 2-3-year deal with Tampa Bay when he got extended. Keenan Allen, is there anything left in the tank for him? Should he stay in Chicago? I think personally he should go back to the Chargers because they just got rid of Joey Bosa, and I want to know where Joey Bosa is going to land.
San Fran.
With his brother?
San Fran.
That would be nasty. That would be disgusting. That would be disgusting.
San Fran.
Your favorite, Amari Cooper. Tyler Lockett, where does he go? Christian Kirk was just traded. He was just traded for like a bag of chips. Another one of your favorites, Elijah Moore. Does he even get a job? Hollywood Brown. I think he should stay in Kansas City, myself. But that's going to be a crowded wide receiver room, but very talented if everybody stays healthy and Rashee Rice comes back. But let's go over that list I just did. I mean, if you remember all the names.
Yeah, you rattled off at least 10 names. You expect me to remember all those?
Well, the elephant's supposed to.
Well, let me put it this way.
DK
Okay,
Metcalf.
thank you. Where did DK Metcalf go?
Yes.
Let me see. I think DK Metcalf would be a good match for the Chargers. He would be a good match for the Chargers.
But what are the Chargers giving up for him? What compensation would Seattle get for him? Because they'd have to trade him. I mean, Chargers made room by letting go of both Bosa and Khalil Mack a year after restructuring their deals so they can come back last year. So what type of compensation can the Chargers give Seattle for their number one wide receiver?
Maybe they give up a draft pick. Maybe a fourth round draft pick, third round draft pick for DK Metcalf. They need a wide receiver.
I agree.
That can definitely stretch the field. Okay,
And
you
catch
got
the ball.
you got Lad McConkey for the mid range and over the middle, and you got DK to stretch the field with Justin Herbert. Oh my God, really?
Well, it's a run-heavy offense, and DK's used to that. And he made the most of all of his opportunities when he was in a run-heavy offense.
Yep.
That's actually not a bad thought process for DK. Stephon Diggs.
Oh, his best choice is go back to Texans. He's coming off an ACL, and he's an older wide receiver. Wow. Maybe Seattle. I don't know. He's an older wide receiver coming off an ACL, man. That's not a winning combination.
So my question is, with that, why a team like Seattle when they don't have Sam Howell's going to be the quarterback unless they do something different. Why would you think he would go there other than a team that's in contention? And I ask that because the same question was asked of DeAndre Hopkins when he went to Tennessee. He went for the money. Eventually, he ended up playing in the Super Bowl. But that was, 2-3 years of his life where he could have been playing with Pat Mahomes and collecting a championship. But why would you say he would go to somewhere like Seattle?
Seattle's a run-heavy offense. It's a run-heavy offense because they fired their old offensive coordinator who was pass-happy. It's going to be if you have Sam Howell as the quarterback, it's going to be a run-heavy offense. And you need a consistent wide receiver that's going to be able to get open and have sure hands. That's Stephon Diggs. That's my reason. I don't think they're going to try to get. No.
I'm saying, why would Stephon's a free agent. Why would he go is what I'm asking. Not why would Seattle want him?
He may not have a lot of options. Okay, because that's my thing is he's an older wide receiver coming off an ACL. If they get rid of DK Metcalf, they're going to want a veteran wide receiver because of the quarterback, and it's going to be run heavy offense, and they're going to need somebody that consistently can catch the ball and get open for their young quarterback. That's
with that being said, no, I agree with you. But if they when they let go of Tyler Lockett, they're letting go of their two number 1 and 2 receivers, making Jackson Smith and Jigba the number 1.
Yep.
So the need for a number 1 receiver is there, yes, but Stephon Diggs wants to play in the Super Bowl. I don't think he would go there unless it was a crap ton of money thrown his way. And even then, I think he would not immediately go. because he wants to play in the Super Bowl.
He may want to play in the Super Bowl, but he may not have a choice. What team?
Dallas, right there, playing with his brother.
What team? I'll repeat this because that makes no sense. What team, in my opinion, that makes no sense? What team that has a possibility of going legitimately to the Super Bowl?
Okay. I mean,
it's going to win.
I should have let you finish.
Okay. Yes, you do. What team legitimately wants a receiver coming off an older receiver coming off an ACL? Is going to want Stephon Diggs. I mean, Dallas can take him, but Dallas, in my opinion, isn't a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
I agree, and that is key. They have money issues. They aren't a contender right now because of those money issues. So yeah, I agree. Not Dallas. I will recant my statement, even though if he's in a situation like you're talking about, and he's like, well, I ain't got nowhere to go. I want to go play with my brother. I'll go play with Big B.
Have at it.
That's a possibility. Now, this last one, and then we'll talk about different players. Davante Adams, does he follow his boy to the Giants, who looks like he's about to sign with the Giants?
No.
And that would be crazy. Malik Neighbors and Davante Adams? Oh my gosh.
Well, let me put it this way. And I know you're going to probably say I'm nuts, but let me put it this way. I think Davante Adams' best option, in my opinion, and this is a contending team with a young quarterback. Green Bay.
I knew it. Go back to
Green Bay. Go back to Green Bay because he's got a legit quarterback that it's obvious that they have a plethora of number 2 wide receivers and number 3 wide receivers. They do not have a legitimate number 1 wide receiver, which they are in dire need of. Go back to Green Bay.
When you started talking, that's the first thing I thought of.
Okay.
First thing I thought of. Okay. That and you know what? It makes sense. It makes sense. I think it's better than going to the Giants because I would say that would stifle Malik Neighbors' growth like it did Garrett Wilson. To be honest, I know Garrett Wilson. I had high hopes for Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and your boy at running back. I was like, oh man, if I could stack them, great. Glad I didn't. But what I noticed was
quarterback. You need quarterback.
Well, no. What I'm saying, what I noticed about Rodgers and Garrett Wilson was that little sideline thing that got caught in training camp. Actually, it lingered over into the regular season because Rodgers wasn't throwing him the ball. He was not getting targets until he said something in the media. The person that was getting the most targets was Alan Lazard. Again, one of Rodgers' guys who also was released.
Familiarity.
No, I got it. But that's what I'm saying. Davante Adams going to the Giants with Aaron Rodgers would stifle Malik Neighbors' growth. My opinion, it would, because Malik Neighbors did a lot with a little bit of quarterback. Very little at quarterback. If he gets Aaron Rodgers, do you think Malik Neighbors becomes a top 5 wide receiver next year?
Let me put it this way. We've seen this movie before, just in the other locker room in New York. Aaron Rodgers in the Giants? No. Emphatically, no. Too much of this, Aaron Rodgers. And no. The Giants need a lot more than Aaron Rodgers to make the Giants legit.
Well, no, I agree. I 100% agree, but it looks like he's going to sign there. And to me, the draft should be just offensive linemen. Period. Grab one of the running backs. Because like you said, there's a plethora of them. And a lot of them are good. A lot of them are good.
Yeah, I have stressed this on your show before. There's a lot of good running backs in this draft. This is probably one of the best running back classes ever.
But I'm going to say this. Because of how many offensive and defensive linemen there are that are very good this year, those running backs are going to suffer by not being picked in the first, second, and third round. It might be 4 running backs taken in the first 2 rounds, in my opinion.
I can agree with that.
And then you're going to see maybe 12, 13 linemen taken because it's such a big need.
I can agree with that.
So the plethora of running backs are going to suffer because they're going to fall into the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. But if you get one of them for the cheap, low price, you got a diamond. That's why I said the Giants need to focus in on the offensive line and get a running back at some point. But they need to revamp the offensive line, period. Now, you talked about Bosa going to San Fran. Is that something you just threw out there, or is that something that you believe is true, or is that just a desire?
Let me put it this way. In my opinion, for the San Francisco 49ers, this would be a monster move to add the
Can they afford him?
For the 49ers.
Can they afford him? That's the problem.
Well, let me put it. I think it's worth it. I don't know if they can afford him. I don't know. I'm not sure what their cap space is.
They've got some cap issues because they got to move people in order to get ready to pay Brock Purdy.
Okay. So in my opinion, I think it would be a good move. But it's got to be cap friendly. Let me put it that way. And I don't know if they can afford both Bosa brothers on the same team. But just think about that. These two guys.
I did. When you said it, I did.
Just think about the two Bosa brothers being bookends. Oh, my God. Really?
And then you got Fred Warner and Greenlaw down the middle.
Yeah.
But they did lose Luafunga, the strong safety. And I think they're losing Ward, one of their corners.
Okay.
Or Ward was already gone.
Okay.
But I love that idea, honestly. And then on the offensive side, you got a healthy Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, whatever, man. Ricky Parasol coming in at second year. Not to mention the 3rd or 4th year receiver. I forgot his name that damn quick. But
Ricky Pearsall?
No, I already said Ricky Pearsall.
Juwan Jennings?
Yeah, Juwan Jennings. Thank you. They're setting themselves up to be a very formidable. If that were to happen, Bosa comes in on the cheap. The Bosa boys, like I said, Fred Warner, Greenlaw, whoever that defensive tackle is, all they got to do is get a little bit of pressure up the middle. That's all they got to do. And like I said earlier, San Fran didn't take Jonathan Allen in that trade because Jonathan Allen was going to want a lot of money next year. And I think the beauty of doing a deal with Bosa, and I didn't think about it, was that you give him a 2-year deal, put a little bit of money, more money in this year, and next year cut him. He gets to play 1 year with his brother, his little brother, and literally have a stacked lineup, on the defensive side. But who else do you have in mind for free agency before I go into this very, very last segment?
God.
You and that chime. So you must be in a baseball draft.
No.
All right.
No. No baseball. No way. No baseball.
I know.
I
was going to invite you to the Mets Diamondbacks game, but like you said, no baseball.
Trying to think who could be a free agent that to go after.
Well, let me ask you this, since you can't think of one, and then we'll shift gears. Does Cooper Kupp leave, even though they said, the Rams are letting him explore his options? Does Cooper Kupp leave now that Matthew Stafford re-signed?
Yes. They want to get rid of that contract. Plus, he's an older wide receiver with consistent health issues. So they don't want to. Huh? Where did he land?
Not in the division. I know he's not going to Seattle. I know that.
Where did he land? Let me see where he lands. I'm thinking. Going over the divisions now, and where does he land?
Does he stay in the NFC, or do they push him to the?
I think he goes over to the AFC, and I think he goes to a team that plays indoors. And I'm trying to think what team plays indoors that he would go to.
Maybe he stays in LA and goes to the Chargers.
I don't know about that one, man. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp now is a slot wide receiver, and that's Ladd McConkey. So I don't know if they want two players that really take up the same position.
Okay.
Not Kansas City, not Denver.
It's not that many AFC teams that have domes. The Raiders could use them. That would be a good fit, in my opinion. But the Raiders just traded for Geno. So I like Jacoby Myers and the thought of Cooper Kupp being the 1-2 punch for the Raiders. Short-handed receivers that move the chains and can get you in position. Houston does not need them because they have a lot of young talent. But I don't know when Tank Dell's going to come back. And if you have Michi, who showed up during the later part of the season when Dell got hurt, along with your boy, Cooper's not a third wheel. He's a 1B in my opinion.
No, not at this time. He's a second wide receiver. He's not a 1B. He's a second wide receiver, and his best thing is playing in the slot.
Okay, you said indoors. It's only like 2-3 teams in the AFC that play indoors. The Chargers, the Texans, the Raiders, and no one up north plays.
Oh, I got one.
Who?
No. He's in the NFC West.
Yeah, I'm saying they're not going to trade him in division. Well,
I'm surprised that they trade him within the conference. So I'm thinking AFC. And
why does it have to be indoors? Why did you say indoors?
Because I think he's better wide receiver indoors. I think he's on
turf.
I think he's a better wide receiver. He doesn't need that much speed, but I think he's a better wide receiver playing indoors than he has outdoors. And in my opinion, oh my God, no NFC West, NFC East. I know. I don't think that Dallas. NFC.
I got one last one. It's not indoors though, and this is why I asked. I think him and Sunshine would make a great pairing down in Jacksonville.
Well,
They just got rid of.
They just got rid of Christian Kirk. Okay, I got two teams. You may agree because you just mentioned them, but the other team is in the South and in the NFC, the New Orleans Saints.
That would be dope. Him and your boy, that would be dope. But Kellen Moore as a head coach, man.
Yes, that's exactly why. Because he loves him some slot wide receivers. So
I know. So Chris Olave is a slot. Chris Olave is not an X. Chris Olave isn't an X.
Chris Olave is an outside wide receiver.
He is not.
He's an outside. He's an outside wide receiver, and you could put Cooper Kupp in there. You could put it this way: you could interchange both of those guys in that offense. You could.
I agree with that.
You can interchange both of those guys, moving from the slot to the outside, and vice versa. Okay.
Yeah.
And
one
Kellen
plays
Moore.
X, one plays Z. Kellen Moore would throw the ball with Carr. He would definitely find ways to get Alvin Kamara the ball.
But I think
Carr's the two wide receivers.
I think Carr's on the way out. I don't think
they're keeping him there. He might not be there next year. But unless here's what I'll say. Unless they can't get Kirk Cousins because that's about the same age group, and that would be stupid to get Kirk Cousins.
Who's better? Who's better, Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr?
Well,
Kirk Cousins.
I mean, I love Derek Carr when he has the same system and he's mastered it. He hasn't mastered system. A new system's coming in, so he's probably going to struggle a little bit, right? Kirk Cousins is really good, but is he fully healthy? That was the reason why he stunk it up the second half of the season with Atlanta. But neither that is the point. Sam Darnold is rumored to be going down there now that Geno Smith is off the board in Las Vegas. So, I mean, not Atlanta, but Atlanta. Oh, but why would you do that in conference? Woo! You give them Drake London and Cooper Kupp, and sometimes, and the reason why I say this is because the hands of old boy that came from the Bears is iffy. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But you put Cooper Kupp and Kyle Pitts might come into his own, don't know. But Cooper Kupp with Drake London, oh my God. And yeah, we can do that deal. I'll send you Drake. You know, I was thinking when you mentioned Atlanta, I was thinking of that. I know. I saw it in your thinking face. I'll do the deal with the devil. Anyway. Okay. You know what? I'll be that level. I'll be that level. I'll be the devil. No problem. No problem. But I love you. I love you when you give me what I want. But you see where my finger is, right? Up your nose. I know what you're doing. I don't care. You see, I don't care. You know what? You can call me Sonny Weaver Jr. How's that? Call you who? Sonny Weaver Jr. How's that? Who is that? You ever see Draft Day? Oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, all right. Last comment. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on who did well, who made money at the draft, and who lost money? Give me 3 people. I don't care what position made money at the combine, and 3 people you think may have lost money. I can't give you that many. I can give you 2 people that made money. Was Michelle Tootin, he's a running back. Mm-hmm.
He ran the quickest out of the running backs. Omarion Hampton made money. He's going to be picked higher than most people thought because he's considered the second best running back in his draft. 6'1", 6'2", 220 running. One's a 4.4, a low 4.4. And Caleb Johnson, who ran a 4.57, lost money. That's
okay.
Two.
4.57.
4.57 is slow. It's slow for a running back.
But contact, well, okay, I see what you're saying, but can this player or a player make up for their? And I'll use Kyle Hamilton as an example. You know, he ran poorly when he was in the draft, the safety for the Ravens, right? But his range more than made up for that poor run. So tell me, is it? I know running back speed is important, right? But I don't think it's as important as a wide receiver speed. The reason why I say that is because the faster guys are the smaller guys. And I believe the trend in the NFL is going back toward the bigger back. But how detrimental do you think a 4.5 versus a 4.4 is?
Being a running back, you'd be able to run away from defensive players. 4.4, 4.3 is key for a running back. Okay, especially a running back who's over in my wheelhouse, which is over 6 feet and 205 to 225. And there was a lot of running backs. I'm looking at running backs right now that have run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 running backs in different sizes and shapes that have run either a 4.3 or a 4.48. And these running backs, and the one that ran the fastest is Tootin, who's I think he's 5'10", 5'9", 5'9", 206. Okay, versus the other running back in Ohio State who ran the lowest 4.4, which was oh God, where did he at now? Hold on. Quashawn Junkins, which is a good speed for him at over 6 feet and over 6 feet and 221 pounds. Man, I love these running backs.
Okay. We'll see which one makes an impact. But you only gave me running backs that made money. You don't think any linemen, any quarterbacks, any defensive backs, linebackers? Yes, no, maybe so.
I'm sorry, man. Say that again.
I said, you don't think any other positions really made money? I mean, I know you're focusing on running backs, but any other positions that you saw that really made some money?
With the defensive offensive.
I'll be honest, this wasn't an exciting combine to me.
It wasn't?
No.
Okay. Well, let me put it this way: the least exciting position was the quarterback position, in my opinion. The least exciting position was the quarterback position. We had offensive, defensive linemen running of fives, which is a good speed, 5'5", 5.0 or 5.5 or whatever. Which
Oh,
is
you
good
froze on me, Mr. Taylor. And I think I lost Mr. Taylor. He froze on me. Go ahead. Finish it up. Finish what you're saying.
Um,
I saw a lineman run like high fours.
yeah.
When you got linemen running high fours, they've made money.
Yes,
Big
they did.
time. 300 plus pounds running high fours.
Yeah, I
Like
agree with you.
4.6, 4.7.
The
That's
least
money.
the least exciting position, like I said, I keep on saying the same thing. The least exciting position was quarterback position. With the quarterback, because I didn't see any quarterbacks, and Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders didn't run. So I don't know what they can do. And the other quarterbacks try to make some money because they ran. Some of them ran, and some of them did throw. But they weren't exciting to me, man. They weren't exciting to me at all. And to me,
That's why this isn't a very good quarterback draft.
no, it's not. No, it is not. It's not. And quite naturally, every year there's a sleeper quarterback out there. But the other set of quarterbacks, other than Sanders and Ward, you don't know who's going to emerge as the quality number 3 out of that, because they're all bunched together. Basically, they're all.
Yeah, I agree. But Dart, who in college at Ole Miss was a throwing machine, but he has that big gun slinger mentality. It's not going to work in the NFL. It'll work a little, but you cannot go into the NFL thinking you're going to squeeze the ball into every little crack and crevice. And that's what he does. Yeah, the man can throw the ball. He's like your boy Milton, Joe Milton from last year, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw where Joe went. Now, the quarterback from Alabama didn't impress me at all. He is a really, really big developmental quarterback. Probably should have stayed in college. And in my opinion,
I'm glad you mentioned Joe Milton. I made a statement earlier in our league chat that Joe Milton will start at least one game this season.
Yeah, a preseason game. You're right. Huh? A preseason game.
No, he'll start at least one regular season game. At least one regular season game. And
I don't know.
I'm high on Joe Milton last year, and I'm high on Joe Milton this year. All he needs, in my opinion, is an opportunity. That's all he.
We'll see. We will see. But with that being said, do you have any more information on the draft? I mean, on the combine. I keep saying
other than there's a lot of quality running backs, people, like I said earlier in this show before the combine, and I've been proven correct. There's a lot of quality running backs in this draft. And
in shorts and T-shirts, yes. Let's see what happens when they play the game at a different level, Jerry.
Okay. People, I've always had year in and year out non-believers when I talk about running backs. Now, I haven't been 100% correct, but I've called out running backs, sleepers, year after year after year. And name running backs I've called out year after year after year. Some correct, some incorrect. But I've been correct more times than not. I've been called out on the ones I've been incorrect, but haven't been called out on the ones I've been correct.
First of all, yes, you have. I have given you your flowers when you were correct, but I have lambasted you when you've been incorrect, because you've been sorely incorrect on those certain people. Let me. I'm not going to get down there.
Wait a minute.
I want this.
You gave me the
and I'm taking the mic back. And I'm taking the mic back
because I called you out on it when I've been correct and incorrect.
I told you, and I've done it on this show.
I can never, ever. No one can ever be totally 100%. but I have been more correct than not. Okay, I can't be 100%. But when I tell you a quality running back is not going to the number one pick last year, I told people don't draft him. Don't draft him. And someone didn't listen to me, and he was a bust. I'm not calling you. I'm talking about someone in our league didn't listen to me, and he was a complete bust. I said, don't draft.
His entire team was injured. I mean, literally every person on this team was injured.
Hey, I can't help that. All I said was don't. The number one pick, don't pick him.
Okay, well,
don't pick him.
We're tying this up in a bow right now, and we're going to close it out.
No problem.
We'll get into fantasy. Let me see.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday morning.
Oh, no, you do not do that. You do not do that.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday morning.
No, Mike is see. You gonna break the rule. Why are you gonna break the rule?
It's your rule. It's your rule.
My show, right?
It's your rule.
It's your rule. My show.
You're not going to coerce me to play a game. I'm not willing to play. Oh, so yes, you are. What you're saying is you're not going to comply with the rules. It's your rule. You said I don't. Your rule is you don't play fantasy baseball. You don't get the promotion. My show. That's coercion. Stop.
I mean,
stop.
What you want.
Stop. Yeah. Okay. Listen. I never do that to anyone, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh.
I never do that to everyone. Anyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank Mr. Taylor for coming on the show and giving his input. Hopefully his internet or whatever.
Mr. Always criticized.
Why can't you just let it be? Because you like mayhem. And trust me, there's going to be 15 years of mayhem talked about. Believe it.
No problem. No problem. That's why I named myself that this year. Because why stop now? I stop now.
You better control yourself before you have an issue. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank y'all for coming and checking out the show and hanging out with us. The show, again, this was a special thing I did because I moved the show to Thursday nights. Hopefully shut up. You ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take it because that's what happened. But, whatever. Holes in your roof. But Tuesdays will be the political show. Thursdays will be the sports show. I'm trying to do some things. I might have to take it back. I might have to walk it back. Yes, I might have to walk it back to Saturdays. But I got some plans happening for Saturdays, so we'll see. Anyway, well, thank you all for coming and greatly appreciate everyone. And you know what? We out.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dude's holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?